asking how many Hare Krishnas are in Germany. Nobody came with a number less as 5,000. Nobody. Because they saw us everywhere. They met us in every town. Why? It was just the 4 brahmacharis traveling around, And they were everywhere. Sometimes in 2 towns a day, traveling fiercely, especially being in a mode of passion. I drove every week at least 1,000 kilometers. That was the standard. Cannot imagine how many cars we ruined, unnecessarily, and how much material we wasted down the road just by traveling and bam, Monday morning we got in a car, we drove 600 kilometers, it was normal. We jumped out in Hamburg, and another one was going, I want to go to the South Germany, and we traveled like nuts. So people are thinking they're all over the place. Then, the danger. The first article appeared. Sektengefahr means, sect danger. They are coming. They will take your child too. Save your children. It resulted in an atmosphere when we first time came back from India, Frankfurt airport. We exited through the customs and there was people standing with children waiting for embarking on an airplane. The mothers were covering the eyes of the children so we don't put a spell on them. So then the danger came, danger. And danger has to be effaced. So the Protestant church started the anti-sect department. It culminated in a fierce battle where, of course, us being young, we liked opposition, we liked to, we actually did anything possible to accelerate the conflict. It was something similar that inspired you to go to Prague and finish off a hotel interior inside. So, smash it to pieces. So that was corresponding to, much of the preaching was motivated like that. Yeah, come on, let's get it, bang, And we like to tease the police and we like to tease and everyone. It was a quite terroristic mood in the air. So, so it was like, yeah. It gave it a special edge to the preaching. I remember even one of my godbrothers, he's now a respected spiritual master, all glories to him, he just invented, he told me, a German saying, it's rhyming, Wenn einmal der Ruhm ist ruiniert, es predigt sich völlig ungeniert. Means when your fame is ruined, you can preach really at ease, can be really relaxed, because nothing to lose. Or whatever bad and evil thing was said was already said, so you can just go, yeah. We end up even telling people that they went, Hare Krishna. I said, no, didn't you read the newspaper? They're all in jail. Oh, okay, yeah, they are in jail. Who is you? We are just distributing books of yoga, Okay. Hare Krishna movement is finished. It's like, we just kept on rolling on and on and on. We had really a lot of fun in Germany. So that was a fierce opposition. That comes. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, it's a proof that my preaching is valid because finally somebody starts to hate me. And they try to kill him. They're planning how to kill him. It's not we asked for this kind of response, but it's coming automatically. When you really preach, it will come automatically. We are not going to, it will polarize the society, it will split. And we saw people coming forth, one story just to tell from Germany. I met once on the airplane a member of the royal class in Germany. They are more or less in hiding, you don't meet them much, but he was a baron, from Berlin. And I was flying on board in the airplane, he came out, and he was sitting next to me, he had this classical, expensive German, old-fashioned dress, And he saw me sitting there with Dodi reading Bhagavad Gita, he got really interested. What is this? And I told him, Bhagavad Gita, ancient Vedic scripture, and this and that, and he spoke to me, he got very excited. And then, and he said, we have every Thursday, we are coming together in my house, all the members of the royal class, and we discuss our spiritual experiences. You should come, you must come and give a presentation. I said, yeah, why not? And he was so excited that when he landed in Berlin, he had a special car, some Rolls Royce waiting for him on the airstrip, just to pick him up, with some driver. And then, and then his relatives were there, and he still kept on talking to me when we were going out of the airplane. And he introduced me to his relatives. He said, "Oh, there's such a nice man. He's a monk. He's a monk. He follows the principles, He's no sex. He's in celibacy." And they were all just like, oh no, our dear grandfather is getting here, brainwashed by some sect member. And he indeed invited us. So I went to the temple. We were just two brahmacharis preaching in Berlin with Bhakti-Bhushan Maharaj, and I told him, we have a new program. We have on Thursday, we go to the reality, to this villa, to this fancy place. And he didn't look very inspired because he was always after making new devotees. And this was for him like not very interesting. He said, some old royals, come on. And I said, no, I already arranged it, we have to go. So we appeared there on that Thursday. We had one Krishna's friend, you could call it. He was coming in a line of Sriman Kud. Kud is an international movement. In every yatra you find, I could make a whole movement of Kurds. Everywhere you go. And they have always an old car, which is falling apart. And they always are ready to do some service. And, they are basically okay, but they have their problems too. So Kurd is, international movement. So we had one. He had an old Volkswagen bus, which was falling apart. And his only thing he did, he was also on some pension. And the only thing he did was he was going with binoculars in the forest watching birds. That was actually his engagement. So he always, because we didn't have a car in the temple, so whenever we called him, he came up with this old rusty Volkswagen bus and drove us to some program. So we arrived with this Volkswagen bus in front of this huge villa, with this heavy curtains. It was like a little palace. And we exited the rusty Volkswagen bus. Just me and Bhakti-Bhushan Maharaj, with our dolis and our banana box full of papadams, and a bucket with lassen. That was generally the prasadam. And then we just came in, and the gentleman welcomed us, and then we entered a room. It was just all these old people sitting there, this baroness and this kind of, and they were just, and he was going, welcome, we were just discussing, we had a presentation of Mr. Miller from his last trip safari to Africa, he gave us a very interesting, so now you can say something about Krishna consciousness. So, Bhakti-Bhushan Maharaj, without warning, he sit down on the floor. And we had a harmonium. So they were all looking over the table, how we are sitting there on the floor in front of them. And we start to make a kirtan, and then as soon as we started to chant, there was one lady, after a few minutes, she was actually from some Russian origin, some Russian princess, or I don't know what, so in the middle of the kirtan, she just completely freaked out, just went ballistic, just jumped from the chair and said, I have enough of this, I cannot hear this, and then she ran out. And they were all totally shocked. The guest, the host who invited us, he was so embarrassed, and he said, we never saw her like this. This is what happens when you chant Hare Krishna. I'm just mentioning the story mainly because of this. And Bhakti-Bhushan Maharaj had a big smile on her face. And he looked at me and said, hey, she was a demon. And then he kept on chanting. And then Bhakti-Bhushan Maharaj was not so inspired, so he just looked at me. Normally he didn't do it, but he said, you give a lecture. So I just, gave a short speech about 4 regulative principles, basically, which normally we don't do, because I knew they will appreciate it. They were very appreciative. And then I had my box with books, and I got up, and everybody brought some books. And then we were chewing on this papadam and drinking some lassi. And just when we were finished, the door went open, and the son of one of the, honorable guests came in to pick him up. And he was actually affiliated with the anti-sect movement in Germany, very active. So he just opened his eyes and said, what are these guys doing here? And then Bhakti Vishnu Maharaj gave a big smile. He actually knew him from the newspapers and that. And he said, another one. And they were getting on each other. It was unbelievable. He said, oh, what are you doing here, brainwashing my relatives? Oh. And Bhakti Vishnu Maharaj was like, and bam, and demon, and bam, bam, bam. And they ended up chasing each other almost physically around the big piano which was standing in the middle of the room. And all these royals were like, oh, no, it's nice, I mean, they're nice. You know, like, cool it down. And they were just, you know, really heavy. And I was just with the harmonium, namaste, Narashringaya, and the whole program basically went completely out of control. And then at the end, when they both got exhausted, actually Bhakti Vishnu Maharaj got the man almost, he really cooled him down. He gave him such a severe opposition that the men started to respect that. That's Germans. Germans respect and we just come back even more heavy. So he actually helped us even to carry the banana box as a car, And we were sitting in the car, the last thing Bhakti Vishnu Maharaj would take out the car and look at him and he said, yeah, it was a good fight. Chanyaka Pandit said, better to have an intelligent enemy as a stupid friend. And then we drove off. That was the end of that program. So we had lots of fun in Berlin with this preaching. But I'm just saying it to illustrate. Don't expect when you chant purely that everybody will be just in peace and will love it. The more pure you present Krishna consciousness, the more polarization process will take place. Naturally. So this oneness and equalitarianism which is just spread now, this Mayavada thing, this is all just ideas. It's never practiced really in reality. Nobody lives up to these ideals. There's distinction and segregation and polarization on every step you meet. There's rules and regulations. There is a racistic. When you are in a bodily consciousness, you must be a racist. Anybody who thinks he is this body is a racist. Because he will discriminate automatically between different bodies. And he will see people along with their bodies. The only actually not racistic view on life is Krishna consciousness. Because we are saying, you know what? You are not the body at all. Not the brown one, not the yellow one, not the white one. You are spiritual soul. That's the only time that you can say, now you are not racistic. And we are the proof of that. Because without Krishna consciousness, I guess we would never live in this lifetime. I wouldn't even sit here. Why should I do in Denmark? Why should I speak to you? And why should you listen to me? Well, without Krishna consciousness, you will never meet him. But because we are trying to be together Krishna conscious, that is the basis we are meeting each other. And that's actually what we are learning to, if somebody is sincere in his endeavor, they are learning to tolerate. Yeah. It's like in a hospital, you learn to tolerate your co-patients. So what did the doctor say? Oh, doctor said, I'm getting better. I have only a little fever, not so much fever. Oh, that's very nice. What kind of tablets he gave? He told me, so this is actually how disciples should meet. That's how everybody should meet. What did the Guru tell you? What is the prescription for you? He told me I should chant more attentively. That's a good thing. Yeah, I should do it too. He told me to do this service. Really? Oh, that's inspiring. You see? We should actually not sit the whole day and night defining and discussing our services. It should be done for us to a great degree. I don't want to go now into this direction because it gets controversial. But the fact is that much of our struggle is unnecessary. We are all disciples somewhere. We are all followers somewhere. So we should listen and follow. Otherwise, what's the meaning of a follower? So the Prabhupada designed the whole line of speakers and listeners. And you cannot speak when you don't listen. It goes both ways, all the time. So the question is, who you are listening from? Oh, and then you can speak. Therefore you find in Bhagavatam, when 5,000 disciples of this guru meet 4,000 disciples of that guru and 100,000 disciples come from this guru, they just quote the guru and they just, and this is like the visit card. I am the disciple of this guru. Wow, yeah, oh, Mahamuni, oh, then they speak. Because our speech is to be authorized. Prabhupada said, as soon as you say, I think, I feel, or I believe, or in my opinion, you can close it down immediately. You don't have to even continue. This is not needed. So what? It will change tomorrow again. Let's meet tomorrow, and tomorrow we will again say, well, actually I think this is one of the first realizations of Hippies Guru Prabhupada. It's never changing. It's always the same. Always the same. You go to him, you get the same information. Ever. Never changing. Nothing. It's not like he says, oh, yeah, actually I thought about this overnight and I think today we should do something like this. Actually, I changed my mind. Now that's one of my confused brothers who left Krishna consciousness when he was asked, but you are contradicting anything what you said before. One presenting Srila Prabhupada. He said, well, I grew out of it. There's no such a thing like I grew out of it in real Krishna consciousness. There's not even such a thing like nostalgia. Of course, it's very specific when you start preaching in certain places. You develop a very special relationship to the other devotees you serve with. And of course, those devotees who joined in the early days with Srila Prabhupada, they carried a very special flavor. But when one devotee was telling Prabhupada, oh Prabhupada, I remember the good old days as we were starting this movement. Prabhupada was very serious at him. He said, there is no such a thing as good old days in Krishna consciousness. There is always here, now, Krishna consciousness. There is no such a thing like good memories and back and nostalgia. Yeah, of course we have such a memories, but the Krishna consciousness is exactly the same. It's fun. Somehow it's fun. I like to always shock new people when I tell them, I'm telling you exactly the same thing I would tell you when I was 18 years old. It didn't change one thing. It's nice philosophy, isn't it? Are you sure that you are saying now something? Are you sure you will say the same thing in 20, 30 years? I doubt that. Usually, when you grow in a material sense, when you are young, you have all these ideas, and you assimilate all these kind of ideas, and then you are, and then you stagnate. You stagnate more and more, and then you end up just repeating yourself. Like the old people, they are just, And my father calls me every second day. I hear the same thing, he's saying the same thing. I know exactly what he will say. I know how he will respond. I know what it is. And it's actually getting worse. The older he is, the more you're regressing back. He just told me yesterday about my grandfather, how he remembers him more and more. You know why? Because he saw him dying, and he's feeling himself aiming for the day. He's 85 years old. So, so he feels more related to that. And it's more going backwards like this. In Krishna consciousness, they don't have such a thing. To grow old and senile and repeating all the time the same joke. No, there's always a progress, this push. Going back home, back to Godhead needs to go forward. And the karmas go, we go forward, and they go backward. This is what Krishna defines. They don't know what is back and what is front. They don't know what is progress and what is, decline. They define decline as progress. Yes, let's go more up. We are progressing. More like this. Hey, come on, join us. Progress here. There's a stairs going down here. Progress with us. You go, but why should I do that? This is just so dark and stinky down there. I don't want to go down there. No, that's progress. It's getting darker and darker and darker and darker. That's progress. And then the devotee goes, no, here This is more and more about Krishna. That's the progress. More and more illumination, more and more understanding, more the consciousness is expanding. They go, no, there's darkness. You become more and more limited. Just in Krishna. We understand more and more. We study. We study university and we learn, we study. Just look at this, what they're coming now. They just give us a report how illuminated places of knowledge universities are. Basically just girls checking out boys and boys checking out girls. That's what the illumination is. I used to distribute in front of a university in the city of Freiburg. It's a university city in South Germany. It was fun to see the students coming out. And because the shopping street in the city ended up exactly where the university campus started. So we were always distributing there, and at a certain time all the students started to come out of the university. And then at the beginning of the shopping street was a big toy shop. They were selling toys for children. And they were just at that time putting a TV in a window, running this kind of Donald Duck movies, Mickey Mouse and this. And all the students come out of the university, this big papers and studying. They all got stuck on the TV. They were watching Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, and they were like, little children. It's just big studies, and at the end, one Mickey Mouse and Today the same thing. They study and study, and at the end you go and then you sit in a computer playing games. There is what are you studying? Well, I'm studying philosophy, Or dating, that's another game. Hello, oh my God, what kind of sex do you like? That's a real study. That's a get alive. That's knowledge. Deva Prabhupada was just saying that. And they accuse us, we do harm. Harm to whom? Harm to whom? So common sense people, Prabhupada was like relating to demonic parents, but common sense people understand, that's kind of improvement. That's nice. It should be facilitated. Prabhupada said we should be a state institution. It should be financed and funded by the state. It should not run around and sell kulagu just to survive. It's pathetic. We should just, the state is financing so many institutions. They finance so many things. I just came across in Sweden a few weeks ago. I just walked into an area which I thought is a living area. These houses were strange. It was attached to a fancy, really fancy living area. And suddenly the houses turned a little bit looked like barracks. But they were modern, they were nice, but they were all grey. Same color with a number on it. Looked like a military barracks. But it was completely like continuation of a living area. So I just ring the bell and, anyway, whatever. And then there was a girl, she opened and he said, you don't have to go here door to door. Because this is all, this area, it's all people living here, they are a little bit, a little bit cuckoo. And I was going, okay, thank you for the information. She was like a caretaker. And the whole area was designed for a slightly mentally deranged people, which was like integrated into a normal living area. So, and obviously, this kind of funny people, you cannot expect them to be very productive in any field. So who's financing the whole thing? Who's paying for all this? The people who are not so, yeah. What about now if those who are become the majority? Then the last remaining little bit more, daily functioning people will finance a huge army of a completely mentally deranged idiots. How does this come about? Why? Why don't they go to the root of the problem? Why do people become insane? No psychiatrist can explain. They just observe the symptoms. And they deal with the symptoms, and they give you some very expensive drugs. Why? Well, the drug industry is making a big business on this. Yes, let people more become insane so they can consume more drugs. It's a good deal for them, not for the rest of the society. But who cares? Major thing is you make some money now. And if everybody dies in the process of go nuts, who cares? Because we are living only once, And that's what Prabhupada said. If you demolish the idea of we are living again, and we will be responsible. If you demolish the idea of karma, we are responsible for our actions, even in a future life. There is only one life. And if you demolish the idea that there is a supreme control, of course, then you can do any damn thing you want. And that's what they are preaching, and that's what they establish. You cannot expect any happiness and peace in a society like this. It's worse like animals. Because animals are regulated by instinct. Humans, they transgress even that border, and they violate the human form of life by acting below the level of animals. So Prabhupada was very firm on this point. But ultimately, as we can read here, the remedy for Kali Yuga is always introducing the holy name. One name, one another. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj got from his first preaching disciples, he sent out an article from the local newspaper which was in a language he couldn't read, he couldn't understand. So he took a pencil and he just underlined how many times the word Krishna was mentioned in that article. It was many times mentioned. He said, this is a very good article. This was the only thing that mattered to him. How many times the word Krishna appears. It's a very good article. Basically, that's the level we are preaching. Just gives them some taste, makes them favorable, gives them some prasadam, and create a favorable atmosphere so they maybe one day they can understand something from the book. You have to be patient. Yeah?
If one day it comes to this, like it's said also, that it's going to be divided against the devotees and the demons, then we're doing a really good preparation right now, because we're making everyone support our cause and yes, Christians, they're good people.
Several Prabhupada liked when devotees went to dignitaries and politicians. It's okay. But he said, they are ultimately not the people. Politicians are like prostitutes, they sell themselves on the way. He said, we are living in a democratic society. So the influence comes from the people. Actually, ultimately it does. Because when people do revolution, you cannot stop it. They just go on the street and they smash something and they run around. And you cannot control everybody like this. That's what the demons are always afraid of. So, he said, therefore, when we massively spread Krishna consciousness, massively, then we prepare this situation where people will want Krishna consciousness, or at least be favorable. And then he said, Prabhupada said, then the politicians will have to change too. And they will. They will even wear tilak, no problem, as long as they can stay in their post. If this is the situation.
I was just wondering about all the negative propaganda that were made in German, if you could use it like the other way around. My father, he asked if he could write in his articles that I had a Krishna now.
We will speak about that when he comes on Thursday. So it's very nice. For me, it's just a big fun to speak to some parents finally. I end up as a Tamil president mostly speaking to the parents. Especially in Germany, it was absolutely essential, because that's where the anti-sect movement was really targeting, to get the parents going against us, because the parents were emotionally frustrated. I lost my child through the movement, like if they would ever own it, So they were very much pushing that point. But already there, we had some parents who were very favorable, and we have some parents who were entirely demonic. Especially, I remember one woman, before even her son conducted Krishna consciousness, she found